final Black Lightning podcast of 2018. We're here to cover the first two books of the Book of Rebellion, chapters 1 and 2, Exodus and the Gift of the Magi. I'm Shanna. I'm joined by the Doctor, Dee, and Parrish. And we'll just start out with, what did you guys think of the opener for these two episodes, or these two chapters of the book?
So I'll jump in. I liked Cutter. I liked her, her aesthetic, how she handled them knives. I get Jen is frustrated, but the level of selfishness she's displaying is a little off-putting to me right now. I didn't like his mom's conversation with Lynn with regard to his father. It's like, I don't know that I'd have that level of sharing with a complete stranger. But I'm also not one to trash like that. Anyway. So yeah, I mean, it was interesting watching Jen get a hold of her powers, going into herself to continue to learn how to use them. The actress playing Lynn, I always forget her name.
Christine Adams
acted her ass off. Like, her grief and despair and the loss of her child. She did such a great job. But I enjoy. Other than that, it was cool. I like the idea of us taking these into books because it makes more sense that way.
Parrish?
I thought it was good to go back to territory that was a little more familiar. The end of the last book was a little jarring to me. I think both Cress Williams and I also can't remember her name, but they both acted their asses off.
Christine Adams. Oh my gosh, you guys. She has like the most generic white woman name.
That's why we're sorry, Adam. You're sorry. Sorry about that, Christine.
It's so generic that we can't remember it.
Right. And it was on the tip of my tongue and totally drew a blank while in the middle of me talking. These episodes went down a lot better than the last few.
Yeah. What about you, Dee?
These were pretty good episodes. I mean, so I kind of wish Kieran Giovanni had looked that good on Major Crimes, but whatever. We got to see God Holly again. I kind of was not expecting that. Although I am curious, though, Doc, you said that you felt Jennifer was being selfish, and I'm kind of curious as to why you say that.
It's one thing to want to run off because of stuff, right? But once you see your family is worried about you, but deeper than that, you're being tracked by an assassin, and you probably know your family knows you're being tracked by assassins, and you saw your father keep your boyfriend from getting killed by said assassin. I'm not saying she had to go home. She could have called back and said, hey, yo, I'm okay. I know what y'all saw. I saw it too. We're good. Just something that basic. It's one of those things where, like, I get you resent your parents, but this is extreme. Especially when people are trying to kill the person you're with, which means by extension, they'll take you out to get to him.
Okay, but I guess where do you cross the line from really caring about someone to the point where you're doing some shaky things at best to being selfish? Because
I already explained that.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right.
So for me, I really enjoyed these episodes. First of all, because they focus on Jen, and I've already established that Jen is my favorite character. Don't at me. I don't care. I love her. I will say that while I do think she was taking it a bit far, and especially like when Cutter was coming after them, I was really surprised that at some point she didn't reach out. I I thought she made some good decisions in the fact that she wanted to call them at all in the first place and let them know she was okay. And then also, as much as I feel for Lynn, I feel like all of this is compounded by the fact that Lynn is still dealing with what she did to the pod kids. So it's like that grief is compounded with what's happening with Jennifer. And what I didn't appreciate is actually Anissa. Anissa's like that person.
I was going to say, don't that go without saying, though? Haven't we established she's problematic and we don't like her?
But what I didn't like about it in particular is that Anissa's that person. Anissa is, what's her name? Azalea Banks. She is that person that is like, she's wrong, but she's not wrong. And she's wrong so much that even when she's not wrong, you still kind of look at her like, I don't trust it. Like, because
delivery.
Yes.
Because she's demonstrated that she doesn't have an ounce of empathy.
No.
Like, she wasn't wrong, but to make the point that she made in the way that she made it at the moment she made it, it was just out. Like, do you have any sense?
Yeah, I did not like it. I didn't appreciate it. I didn't like her coming for Jefferson. And I will admit that Jefferson trying to make it about her knowing that Khalil texted Jennifer. I mean, they're sisters. There are things my brother tells me that I don't tell my mom, right? If I think that my brother is going to hurt himself or hurt someone else or whatever, like, yes, of course, I'm going to tell my mom. But also, in Anissa's mind, they had it handled. And at the time that she saw that text message from Khalil, Jennifer actually wasn't talking to him. She was ignoring his text messages. So when she talked to Jennifer, Jennifer's like, I'm ignoring him, whatever. He just keeps messaging me, but I'm not paying attention to it. And she was telling the truth at the time. So Anissa thought it was handled. So I just, like, Jefferson trying to blame her, I get why she, like, came back at him. But also from what we know of their backstory, her whole you drove me away thing, it also feels like, I mean, we know in her teens that because Anissa was gay and not ready to come out, that strained her relationship with her parents. But that was on her. Like, they accepted who she was. She just didn't want to share with them because she thought they wouldn't. And then with the moving out thing, Jefferson was perfectly right to be like, you can't be in these streets stealing from people, even if you think you're Robin Hood. Like, so it's like, these two situations are very different. What they did to Jennifer versus how Anissa is taking it, they're very different situations.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I mean, to be fair, they weren't entirely wrong in the way that they treated the situation with Jennifer, because they don't know what they didn't know what she could do, and she really could have been a potential harm to herself and to others. I'm not saying that they're entirely right, but I understand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead.
If they had known, you think they'd do it any differently?
Had known what?
Well, Paris just said they didn't know, so they weren't entirely wrong. So with how they did the situation, because they didn't know.
No, because at the time that they did it, she couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Just sitting on that roof with Khalil, she couldn't control it that one time. They weren't wrong. Either way, even if they had known, this was still the right reaction until she had it under control. And that's the conversation that, sometimes parents forget to have with kids. It's like, this isn't forever, but you got to put in the work to get this under control so that we can send you back to school. And that was a conversation that didn't really happen. So,
right.
Of course, she's going to react that way because the parents aren't talking to her. That said, again, I'm not upset that she ran away because it's a very teenage thing to do. But at the point your life is in danger on the run, like the first thing that happened, he goes out and tries to rob up one of Tobias's places. And next thing you know, you got bullets coming your way.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't we rethinking some of this?
And
then when you try to call your parents to say that he's okay, he want to get all puffed up in the chest. Warning signs. Pay attention to him. So,
yeah.
And it's just it's just the common courtesy of, if you're going to be, this is somewhat different. This is somewhat a different situation, but I think it applies. Like, like I've told my kid, if you're going to be out all hours of the night or you're not coming back until the next day, that is one thing. At least have the common courtesy to let me know that you're alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, I mean, again, I'm talking to a grown ass woman at this point, or as grown as she can be at this point. And she's not running away. She's just, going out, and that's different than running away. But still, I think it applies. It's the common courtesy of letting your parent know that you're actually alive.
Yeah.
And that's
we
why
let this play out, however we let it play out. But at least I know that you're safe.
Yeah. That's why I did appreciate that, like, her first instinct was at least to call and let people know that she was okay. So I appreciated that part of it. I think where it got to be too much, like the doctor is saying, is when you get to a point where now you're being hunted and and your family showed up already to help you. So it's not like who your family is, mm-hmm. Their intentions are good, even if they aren't treating you the way you want to be treated right now. I don't know. And then I think they still would have kept Jennifer in that, like, trapped or whatever, like, because they didn't know how to deal with anything, but they also didn't know how to have a conversation with her about it, which is on them. And then also, again, I go back to Lynn and Jefferson have not been paying attention to her. They thought because they had her in her room that it was handled.
Yeah.
And that's not okay. But I think, like, for what she did without calling them, I thought she handled it really, really well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, I thought she dealt with all of that stuff really well.
She's very resourceful.
Yeah.
Took the word right out my mouth.
When she had old girl hemmed up, I was like, when she walked over with that knife, I was like, this is about to become a very different show, you guys. It's like, I don't know where Jennifer's going with this, because she seems really upset.
Full Oliver Queen.
Exactly. Yeah, I was like, this just became Arrow and not in the good way.
You have failed.
Oh my God. I was just thinking about, like, the 500 people doing the Oliver, you have failed this scene elsewhere. Yeah, and I didn't, like you said, the warning signs. I didn't appreciate Khalil getting very knuck if you buck on her. I just...
Right. Like, you gotta get the bass out your voice. Who you talking to like that?
Because I mean, she is the closest to having God level powers on this show. Like, do you really want to do this?
Yes. Like when she said, first of all, Jennifer had all the lines in these 2 episodes. When she told him, I will light your ass up, I was like, yes, Jen, tell him about it. He don't deserve you. I was very, like, having my Cardi B Offset moment. I was like, he doesn't deserve you, girl. And then
the gif of the little boy drinking tea.
Yeah. When she was cutting off his hair and she told him that he looked like Whoopi Goldberg. And did they put that poor extra who Jefferson tore the whole top off his car? Did they put him in that same horrible wig? Did they put him in wig number 2?
I feel like they did.
Yeah. Oh, I was sitting there like, why is Black Lightning racially profiling in these streets?
And my dude, you're looking for your daughter. Why not just walk up and knock on the door like Jennifer? Oh, sorry. Why are we tearing up people's cars?
Hey, he just targeted any old brother with locks.
I
Who's
loved
on a
it
date?
specifically because of that. Because I was like, I love that he like profiled them, and the dude and the girl were both like, Black Lightning, what are you doing? Like, they were so hurt.
Like, you tore up my car. My engine is exposed.
And he finally got her to say yes to go out on a date with him. He had it all planned out. You hear Black Lightning come blowing up his car.
He ain't never getting another date with her again.
Nope.
Or maybe he's got enough game where he can flip it. We don't know these things.
I would have been like, what'd you do? Like, that would have been my first thing. Black Lightning just don't be up in these streets just coming at anybody. What did you do?
You got to deal with that side eye all throughout dinner, all throughout the movie.
It's too much.
And that car probably wasn't his, so he probably got to take it back to his mama's. And then, like, what the? Then that conversation has to be had.
His mom ain't gonna believe him.
I know, that's my thing. There is no metahuman insurance.
That sounds like a lie. Yeah, so Black Lightning came down and
there is no metahuman insurance, and I just think that is the most fucked up thing because they also tore up Khalil's auntie's house. All the windows were shattered in that bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, why are we talking about Nuck if you buck? Okay, I don't mean to victim blame, but
I'm gonna.
Did come out the mouth wrong. His aunt did come out the mouth wrong at that door.
So that's just it. Cutter didn't do nothing to her. Little dumbass shot her. I'm like, what are you aiming at?
I thought like what Jefferson said, he saved her. Like he knocked her out so that because he couldn't get the shot because she was standing in front of Cutter. So I thought he knocked her out to take her out of play. It's like like Speed when you shoot the victim.
But then the end of Venom took off.
But
if Gambi hadn't been there, that woman be dead.
Yeah, but
don't butt it. You know I'm right.
But also because I don't think he would have ran. I think he thought he was gonna beat Cutter. And then he would take care of his aunt.
Y'all need to be glad this ain't a video podcast because if you could see my face.
No, I thought I was like, Speed, you gotta take out the hostage. Like Keanu Reeves taught us that. I'm trying to think. Because
all I'm saying
jumping all over the
is
place.
if somebody comes up to your house dressed up like an action figure, the smart ass comments, you can put the brakes on those.
True, but if someone comes to your house dressed like that and she says, I'm a cop, a smart ass comment almost has to come.
I'll go you one better. No. I'll go you one better. Someone shows up to my house looking like that. I'm not opening the goddamn door. That was her first mistake. Like, You're
right.
This woman don't look right.
I did like how she tried to keep the thing up, but she was like, detective. I was like, you don't look like anybody's detective. I can't even believe you thought we would believe that lie.
I'm not saying that though.
No one's.
She looks like a G.I. Joe action figure. I'm not saying that.
The worst. Yeah. So the Lynn is, I think, a lost cause at this point. Lynn is just gone off that Henny. She's done. I think the rest of the season is Lynn becoming an alcoholic.
Wow.
I'm just saying. She was looking a mess. I knew it was not gonna end up well when in the first episode when she tore up Jennifer's room. So I just like I love her, but I feel like we're gonna have many episodes of Jefferson putting her to bed after she like falls out on the couch. Just me.
No, well, Lynn never wanted this life for her family, and now she has no control. She can't help. She's just spiraling.
But she also, like, I get that she never wanted this for her family, but Lynn has to admit to herself that she took on this pod kid thing, and there is part of her. I think, you know what I think more than anything with the Dr. Jace thing? I think she wanted to be a part of this experiment. She's curious. And I think that's also part of like where her guilt comes from. Is that she wants to be a part of this project for personal reasons and for selfish reasons, not just for the good of these kids.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
But I will say Christine Adams is doing an amazing job. Well, I always knew she could act, so I was never worried about that. She's doing an amazing job. Especially compared to some of the other acting on the show. Anissa. I really enjoyed the scene with Lynn and Gambi when Lynn tries to sneak into the sanctum to get information on Khalil's dad. Just because, you know, I always enjoy when the wife and the other woman get together and have a conversation. That's always fun. And I looked it up. Khalil's dad isn't from the comics.
As the other woman.
Oh yeah, no, Gambi's totally. Anytime him and Lynn talk, I hear that song like, what's it? It's Shirley.
Barbara.
Well, Woman to Woman by what's her name?
Yeah. Like anytime they are in a room together or they have a conversation, I just hear that playing in the background. I don't know about the comics. I tried to look it up. I didn't see that Khalil's dad was like a character in the comics, but I don't know. It felt like they were going somewhere with that, and then really all it amounted to was that Khalil had an apartment.
That and the fact that his mom made the dad seem okay. I'm not saying the dad wasn't trash at some point, but when we meet him, he's just trying to live a normal life as an ex-con with a job, whose family don't want nothing to do with him. And he's trying to respect that. And I'm like, dang, I thought he was going to be sitting on the corner. I thought she had to come with weapons because he was going to be trash. And it turned out he's like, no, he's just like, I wish I could help you, but I fucked up, and now one kid's dead, and one kid's involved in something I tried to keep him out of, and I take ownership of that. But you know what I know?
Yeah, and the thing,
it was a big deal about nothing, basically.
Yeah, and for him to like you said, to have specifically said, I told him to stay away from Tobias.
Yeah. The way they were making it seem like, I thought he was gonna be some minor drug kingpin or something like that. Like he just works at Krusty Burger and that's about it.
He thought he was gonna be Omar from The Wire or something.
I was like, where are we going with this? Like, and I don't know, is like Khalil gonna come back and then he'll have like a bigger role? Yeah, it just felt like a whole lot of like, who's Khalil's father? Only to be like, oh, he's some dude, who's working his way up to fries. I don't get it.
I'm so mad you said Krusty Burger.
Just saying.
So
go ahead.
Question: what do we think about the Blue Ranger showing up? I'm sorry. I keep thinking of him as the Todd.
Oh, okay. So I know that actor from Sierra Burgess is a Loser.
Oh my God. Oh God. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell. Thank you, D. I was looking at his face and I'm like, where do I know him from?
No, I looked him up, and he was the dude, the black kid from Sierra Burgess is a loser. So I was like,
Yep,
I like
that
him.
too. But
Yeah.
I knew him from something else. Okay, sorry.
Oh damn! Yeah. Wow. Okay.
I think that'll be interesting because again, this is the weird part. So they've told us he's very smart. He apparently was trying to get this grant because he's working on some experimental something. They still haven't told us what yet. So it's like I don't know how to feel about that. Like I'm excited in the sense that it seems interesting, and Tobias always has a plan in his back pocket, but they didn't tell us like what his specialty is, what he does, or anything yet.
Yeah.
It was just like science. He does science.
As long as we don't do Anissa level science, I'm fine.
Right? You know? And
Jennifer had it almost at an Anissa level moment, but it kind of made sense trying to, given what she was trying to explain. When she was trying to figure out the electrical, I forget the scene with the electrical powers, but it almost went to Anissa levels, but thankfully it didn't quite get there.
They reined it in.
But here's the thing with Jennifer, and this is why I'm afraid for Science Boy. So with Jennifer, don't laugh, but like with Jennifer,
mitochondria.
The whole thing with Jennifer was that she says it like she's like, oh, Mrs. whatever's fourth period class. Like that is Jennifer's level of science. They have not told us that Jennifer is secretly, a science genius or whatever. Like she's literally like, yeah, I learned this at like in the 8th grade, and like let's go back to my 8th grade knowledge of how electricity in the body works, right? That's fine. She can do that. Anissa is supposedly some ginormous big brain scientist who only knows that the mitochondria is the powerhouse in the cell. And so that's why it worries me that they haven't told us what Science Boy's like specialty or whatever like is, because it feels like, again, somebody is just putting in parentheses, fill in science stuff at some point. And then nobody is taking time to do a quick Google and actually fill in some science stuff. So I'm frustrated because I feel like that's what it's going to be. It's like, oh, Tobias got him because he's like a scientist. And then when we get to the actual sciencey part, everybody's just going to be like phoning it in.
Okay, can I just say this? And I know this is probably like a whole bunch of privilege speaking, but my man is kind of a cheap date.
Ew.
Because I mean, Tobias just forwarded $100,000 to his account, and he was like, "I'm in." Like, really? Like, you're gonna sell your soul to a criminal empire, and that's your selling price?
As someone who does not have $100,000, I'm not going to judge this young man.
Same. I saw it. I was like, who you need me to kill? Tobias did that just as the hook.
As someone,
he knows he's got more coming.
Exactly. As someone who like $50,000 could change her life.
No, I mean, look,
I'm an extremely cheap date.
Look, I get it. Okay, I'm just saying. My man said he read everything in existence about Tobias, and yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, I have nothing for you on that one because, again, I'll be a cheap date then.
But when is his I guess morals and the money going to clash for him though? Because he's going to Tobias is going to ask him to do something that he fundamentally does not want to do. So I'm kind of curious as to how long they're going to drag that out.
I guess what I'm speaking to is like I have a pretty large survival instinct, and yeah.
It's good to know that you can't be bought. We'll all remember that.
Look, let's not go that far.
Like, we will all remember that.
It's not.
We are.
You're not quoting me on that. Okay, let's not go that far. I'm just saying.
You were okay with me quoting you on burning down the BBC, but this is your line. This is your line.
I'm like, that's wonderful. I'm like that gift for you. Me, I can be bought.
I didn't say I couldn't be bought. I'm just saying I need a little more than that. Put my life on the line for Mr. Anti-Black here.
But I live in California. The rent is too damn high. Tobias, you go on ahead, transfer that to my account. Go on, do it. I'm perfectly fine.
He's in Georgia where the housing prices are a lot cheaper. And he had just got turned down from that, getting his research funded. Yeah.
I will say Tobias is good at that. Like, Tobias is like, I'm going to catch them right when I know that they can.
At their lowest point.
Yeah, they cannot refuse my offer. So, game recognized game, Tobias. What do we think is the past relationship between Cutter and Tobias?
I know she don't fuck with him.
Like, do we think it was
he's anti-Black as hell?
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, she knows his sister, and she was cool with his sister. So I'm like, did her and Tobias,
I don't think it was that, but I do think she was familiar with the family.
Okay. I was like, this seems like a little lover's quarrel right here.
Oh no, they came across to me like, you know what? I knew you wasn't gonna be shit, and you grew up and turned out to not be shit, and I was right.
I was like, let me find out. Because I just loved how she talked back to him and everything. She was like, yo, pale ass. I thought you didn't like Negroes. And
he took it, though. That is interesting.
Right?
Which makes me wonder if he's like, she could be a lover, but I don't think he would take that off a lover. I think she's more a friend of the family of them growing up. Mm-hmm. And he, as much shit as he talks, he values those ties.
He does. I mean, I will say that about Tobias. Like, we can joke all we want to, but like, Tobias cares about family and he cares about loyalty, and those are like his two big things.
Mm-hmm.
So if she's a friend of the family, has she been around as long as Tobias?
Could be.
She doesn't seem like a meta, though. I think
that's what I was thinking too. So,
well, Gambi said they weren't sure because it's like bullets don't hit her. She can curve knives, and bullets seem to miss her, which suggests some low-level telepathic identity. So she may be a meta. They just don't know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Or she could just.
It's one of those abilities that's easy to dismiss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She reminded me of what's the name? Domino.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly who came to mind.
Yeah. This is so random. But I wanted to bring this up. The hair thing. Khalil called out Jennifer's weave. And I don't know how I feel about that.
I wasn't going to.
Well, he was at least smart in this respect. He knew a losing argument when he saw it.
Why were you mad he called it out? I mean, everybody knows weave.
I know, but I was like her. I was like, and like people just think, oh, okay, you just gonna do whatever to my hair because it's weave. No, why don't you get out of my business? Why don't you mind yours? But we do know because they released this week. They released the show art for Jennifer in her costume, and she is wearing a shorter haircut in that. So apparently when she's in costume, she gets a kicky little bob, just the way every single time Anissa gets ready in her costume, she all of a sudden has long braids. Who is doing these people's hair right before they go into battle?
Same folks as doing Curtis's hair.
Exactly.
Well, maybe Jennifer's just nice with the hair. I mean, she... cut Khalil's braids, gave him a halfway decent looking fade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So maybe she just got skills that we just don't really know about.
Jennifer is good with them clippers. I felt so happy for Jordan Calloway just to get his hair back together.
Twitter, he seemed happy too.
Yeah. He was like, "Thank God." Like, yes, we all appreciate it. I appreciate them wanting to get that classic comic book look, but yeah, those locks were not the move for Homeboy at all. So Tobias is also, he's in charge of Club 100 again. And because we revisit Club 100, we also revisit God Holly. Who is God Holly's family? Like, who is his uncle? Who is he related to?
I told you.
The music actually in the second episode was really good. I was Shazamming a ton of songs. And then all of a sudden, God Holly was on the stage. And I was like, Lord, I thought we had left him in season 1.
Like, what did we do wrong? Like, who did we offend? That's what I want to know.
That was the longest single song concert performance.
Oh my gosh.
That song went on forever.
Throughout the whole freaking scene.
I feel like he might be a family member of the Achilles. That's the only thing that makes sense.
I just don't understand it. The rest of the music in that episode was good. The song when Jennifer was stealing the meds, My Sins, that was really great. The song when her and Khalil were having their confessional moment about how the two of them met, Tides by Brandon Banks, that was great. And then it finished with fucking Method Man and Mary, and I was like, I wish y'all had played this when they first ran away, because I would have been totally on board with the running away storyline from Jump if you'd have played this song.
Okay, maybe that's the problem that I had. Because it just came off as anticlimactic to me.
Yeah.
And I kind of know when they played the song, but I think that's what it is. Like, had they played it when they first ran away, then maybe it would have gone down better for me.
It would have made more sense then, honestly.
Yeah.
Because
I guess they did
heard
it here because of everything they had gone through together. Maybe that's why they chose it for this point in time. Oh.
No, but yeah, they should have just did that from Jump, because the minute I heard it, I was like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted in my life.
And in the midst of all that, God Holly.
Yeah. It's like you you were doing so well. Like you.
Can I ask a quick question? How did Jennifer know what to steal in terms of the meds?
Her mom's a doctor.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah, I get, but I never got the impression that she was really paying that close attention to what her mother.
Well, I mean, you know what, and most people know what the different types of antibiotics are. And your go-to is going to be penicillin, and most people know penicillin is either penicillin or the generic amoxicillin. She figured he had an infection. She probably just grabbed what she knew to be an antibiotic. You don't have to be paying close attention to what your mom does to know that. I mean, you could have just had an ear infection and know that.
Well, so I'll take it a step further. Speaking from experience, from someone who grew up with a doctor his entire life, you don't have to really pay attention to the majority of what he says. Just existing in the household, you pick up a lot of things, seeing medical journals on the tables. It's just you pick up a lot more than you think you would.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I don't know. She just knew. I was okay with it.
And it wasn't like she grabbed one specific thing. She grabbed a couple of things. Okay, let's try this. Let's try this. So
yeah.
And she had. It also wasn't like she had diagnosed exactly what was wrong with him. She was taking a shot in the dark. She generally knew what she needed to get.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I thought it was awesome how she made the thing pop open. Because when she went in there and she was pressing numbers, I was like, girl, what? You can't just... What, you going to sit there and try every combination? I was like, Jennifer is so sketchy right now. How is everybody not noticing? She just looked like she was doing something wrong.
No.
Gambi and Anissa. We have to talk about that. Because this is another instance of Anissa is, even when she's right, I still feel like she's wrong.
Yeah.
Because she pulled Gambi's card and she was completely right. Like, he is constantly lying to them for their own good, quote unquote. But girl, you do it too. Act like you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And he did cover up for it.
Mm-hmm. And then he gave her that old buggy as a prize, as a
Oh no, that okay, so those kinds of motorcycles came out years ago and they were in high demand in terms of with the two wheels on the front and the one in the back. It was considered kind of an elite cycle to get, honestly.
I don't like it. I wanted it to just be a regular motorcycle.
Mm.
It did not look
Do
cute.
you trust Anissa on a regular motorcycle?
No, there's that.
No.
But I just wanted it to be a motorcycle. I just thought it would look cool.
Because everybody's like, well, and again, that's why it's good we went back to watching these in books, because we were sitting there like, well, why is he drawing a motorcycle? Is he that bored listening to ham radio that no, he can do? Now we know. Gambi never does anything without a purpose.
Yeah, I was like, listening to ham radio isn't
exciting.
exciting.
Watching the second episode, and he had never really watched Black Lightning, so he was forced to watch it because he was in control of the DVR to skip commercials. And when Gambi flipped Jefferson, he was like, "Wait, how does that do?"
Thank you. I was waiting for somebody to bring that up. I was waiting for someone to bring that up.
Simple reason for that. Old man strength.
That's what I said.
It's old man strength. I'm just like, it's old man.
He lifted that big Negro up and slammed him into the ground. Off his feet. He lifted him off his feet.
Because my thing is this, Jefferson, if he can hold you from taking off, you don't want none of the hands Gambi is throwing at you. None of them.
I was with Gambi though. Like nigga, you can't fly off in a khaki jacket and some jeans.
He was like, "What is you doing?"
So annoying.
But I actually rewind. I had to rewind that because I was like, "Wait a minute, did I just see that?" He lifted my man off the ground, like his feet were off the ground, and slammed him into the ground. Look, James Remar has to be pushing 70.
Okay.
I mean, what did I say? We saw my man in his little tank top a couple weeks ago, and I was like, let me find out that Gambi got a little body. So.
Okay, so don't clown me for this, right? So I never
record, Remar 64. Just,
okay, not quite pushing 70. He's getting in that neighborhood though.
I'm just saying.
He's still firmly in his 60s. Okay.
Got a little body on him though.
But okay, so don't clown me for this. I never finished Dexter. So I'm going back and binging Dexter. And I had totally forgotten that James Remar was Dexter's father. Mm-hmm. So a man's career is basically preparing vigilantes.
Basically.
That's wild.
That's what you gotta do. It be like that.
I remember Remar from Too Fast, Too Furious. I think he was like the main bad guy in that. But
was he?
Oh, wow.
The only thing I really remember him from.
Really? It's been a while since I saw that. I didn't know he was in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was like the main bad guy in that.
Oh yeah, I was like, I have not seen that in a minute.
Yeah.
Actually, also because Too Fast, Too Furious is the one you want to skip if you're skipping through them.
Exactly. That's the one. I think I've only seen that one twice.
Yeah.
I love the Fast and Furious movies. I've watched all of them repeatedly. That's the one that I don't watch.
Are we does Tokyo Drift? Are we considering that?
I never. Okay. Maybe it's a sacrilege. I never finished Tokyo Drift because I couldn't handle that boy's accent.
That is true facts.
It's valid.
That is that is true facts. But also, Tokyo Drift has it has a lot of merit. I always like give Tokyo Drift credit because Tokyo Drift is what revived the series, and brought it back to greatness.
Wow, really?
Well, because what happened was that they did a test screening of it, and the part where Vin Diesel's character shows up, just like randomly at one of the races, when they saw the audience's reaction to that, that is what made them decide to make more movies and bring back the original cast, because they didn't know that people were still excited about the original cast.
But Vin Diesel didn't show up to the very end of that movie, though.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, when they showed it to test audiences, that was the part that people were most excited about. So, like, without Tokyo Drift, you don't get 4, 5, 6, and 7. Like, you just don't.
Yeah, the continuity wouldn't have been there.
Yeah. But
and it also had Bow Wow.
Yeah, and it introduced us to Han. So, you know, I'm just saying, you know, give Tokyo Drift its things because it's important. I appreciate the support, Parrish.
I think that's one of the ones, if it's ever on television, I'll sit there and watch the whole thing.
And I like the drifting on it. The drifting on it is actually really awesome. The car scene.
So what y'all telling me is I got to go back and give it another chance?
I mean, I'm just saying, if you're going to skip one, you skip Too Fast, Too Furious. You don't skip Tokyo Drift. If we're choosing ones to skip in the series.
Mm-hmm.
I own the box set.
So do I.
Like, those are my films. So, I have a lot.
And I mean,
wasn't that Justin Lin's first movie anyway? At least in the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. But yes, we're far off topic now. Yes, Jefferson deserved that body slam. Every single bit of pain. Because what the hell are you doing, dude? Also, I think Anissa is like officially just, I can't with her. Because even her standing in the background being like, guys, stop it. I was like, just shut up. It's like, just let
if ever there was a time to say it's grown folks are talking.
Yes. I was just like, oh. Like, why are you here? I just can't. I do not like her. I'm sorry, because the actress is, you know, I'm sure I was going to say, I'm sure she's a lovely person. I've talked to her. She is a lovely person.
It's not her fault they wrote her like this.
No. And I just feel so bad because I cannot with her at all.
I can't. And I'm thinking about what you said about the motorcycle. That would complete like the fuckboy accessories though, right? Like a crotch rocket.
Oh my God. Oh, yeah. It just feels so right for her character.
Right. Yeah.
Like, given what we know about Anissa, she would be a fuckboy with a motorcycle.
Right. I just thought about that. You're absolutely right.
It's like, why is she this way? I'm trying to think anything else that I have in my notes. I don't think so. Oh, Tobias.
I was gonna say, I know you're not supposed to sign off without talking about Tobias.
Okay, I mean, we talked about him somewhat. Just like the fact that Tobias is the only one out here putting two and obvious together.
That was another thing I was waiting for somebody to mention.
Like, he's like, oh, the Pierce girls again. How interesting. I'm like, yes, Tobias. Everyone else should have come to this conclusion as well.
Like, I mean, you know, the guy that lives in the same neighborhood with Pierce girls didn't think for a second that, like, Black Lightning's appearances tend to coincide with the Pierce girls being in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he has a badge. He has a shield that says detective. I'm just saying.
You will use any excuse to shade Henderson.
And this is the one thing I'm going to say about Tobias. I have to question his intelligence, because if Henderson can figure it out before you do, that's a problem.
No.
But no, to be fair though, that it wasn't of interest.
Exactly.
There was so much going on. That's not something that would necessarily come to mind until you start to see the pattern.
Also, I'm still not convinced that Henderson figured it out. I still think that was just like, okay, we've decided that this season we want Henderson to like help Black Lightning, and we don't want to have to keep that secret. So let's just write that in at the last moment. We never saw it. We never saw him have a moment of anything. He just came back knowing. So no. I appreciate this because Tobias is like literally sitting there like, this is not that hard to figure out.
And I mean, let's be real. Has Black Lightning really been that much of a threat to Tobias?
No.
I mean, he's taken, he's been a party to Tobias losing people in his life, but like Tobias has successfully evaded and given Black Lightning a runaround for over a decade.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, it's. I think he'll use the info now that he has it, for sure. But in terms of like, he was never trying to figure out who Black Lightning was. But that time that Gambi got kidnapped, that wasn't Tobias. That was the ASA trying to figure out who Black Lightning was. So I think that's part of it too, is like Tobias wants to take Black Lightning out, but he's never been like, let me figure out who he is.
And then I think, one of the other elements of it is that this is a comic book, and one of the conceits of the comic book is the villain always has this gamesmanship with the hero. Like he wants to outsmart the hero, not necessarily take him out. Yeah. I mean, because if murder were the primary motivator in most comic books, the first time the villain gets the drop on the hero, that would be the last issue of the comic.
Also, I just think about all of the comics. As a human being, it seems like, wouldn't you just want to figure out who it is and take them out that way? Other than like the Flash, I can't think of most villains don't seem to be that interested in finding out what the identity is. Like you would, because like for instance, Batman, you would think people would just figure out that he's Bruce Wayne and take him out. Like, not fucking hard. Like,
I mean, yeah.
But like with the Flash, that's like kind of always a thing of his villains trying to figure out who he is, and and once they do, like going after his family, like that's always like a big part of his story. But for some reason not. And I don't know why that is, because like I said, I think if you're a villain, you just figure out who they are. That should be your first move. But what do I know?
But again, it's a conceit of comic books, and we just kind of have to. That's one of those things you're just gonna have to forgive forever.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else before we go into this feedback? Oh, Tobias's knockoff Kehinde Wiley of his sister. Anyway, at first I was like, is that like a fake Kehinde Wiley? And then they zoomed in on it, and I was like, yes, that is definitely a fake Kehinde Wiley.
He's talking to and getting answers from, apparently.
Also, it's very weird because it was like this whole obsession with cyanide.
Thing?
What? Hold on, G. What were you saying, Jana?
I was just saying, like, it's very weird because he was so obsessed with cyanide, and then now all of a sudden everything is Tory. So it's just very weird. But Kehinde Wiley is the artist who he's known for doing these like very beautiful portraits of Black people in the manner of classic portraits from back in the day, like like Renaissance, when people would just did like a lot of portraiture. And he did the Obama one that's in the National Gallery, the one where he's like sitting in the chair in front of all of the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same artist. So it just looked like a knockoff version of it with like her face like very prominent and like making her look like royalty with all the flowers in the background. And I know like some shows have had actual Kehinde Wiley pieces, like Empire in Lucius Lyon's house. He has like Kehinde Wiley piece. So to me, it was just very obvious that was a knockoff.
Tobias just makes me laugh. I just like him going over to Khalil's mom's house. That whole monologue was. He's just one of those people that is infuriating and hilarious at the same time.
When he walked out and he was like, "You're strong. How'd you raise such a weak boy?" I was like, "Wow,
Right.
Right.
Like
we said a million times, he doesn't respect Khalil, but my God."
And not for nothing, for him to keep saying he don't like the big lip Negroes with them soup coolers he got.
Thank you. Thank you. Hot kettle. What?
I mean, really?
Oh my God, here.
First of all, just anytime somebody calls lip soup coolers, that just takes me out.
I mean, bruh.
Because you just like in your mind, when somebody says soup coolers, I immediately imagine somebody going, oh my God. And it's always, he's like thick-lipped, incompetent darkies. Like, really? Really?
Like the only difference between you and them is that you're not dark.
That's why, like, when Cutter was like, "With your pale ass," I was like, "Thank you."
Like, cause nigga, you not passing for nothing.
He forever calling somebody on the color of their skin. Like, he ain't walking around here looking like the inside of a banana. I swear.
Ain't nobody mistaking you for nothing, dog.
Oh my God. I was listening to the Black Guy Who Tips the other day, and they were playing Guess the Race, and I was just, and like people were guessing black, and they were just saying the worst things. And I had to pause for a second because I was just like, oh my God, everyone is so racist. That's how I feel whenever Tobias talks. Like, my God, he's so racist.
It's just the shock of him being as anti-black as he again, that's why I watch the show, man. It's like, wow. He really hates black people.
Like, more so than anyone should. It's so horrible. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, feedback.
So Corey says, I hate to say I didn't enjoy this episode an awful lot. I love Black Lightning so much and look forward to it every Wednesday. I get it later in my country. They are spending too much time on this runaway storyline between Khalil and Jennifer for my taste. I'm not sure what the point is, but hopefully it leads somewhere for Jen's character. They had Lynn running around the whole episode looking traumatized and investigating a lead that didn't lead anywhere either. The actress does a good job, but her storyline felt pointless in this episode. Overall, the actors did a good job, and I enjoyed this cast as always, but this episode dragged for me. It looks like she was just talking about the first one.
Yeah.
For
me, I just want to say that I just want to say that I honestly think Lynn's storyline is moving towards Lynn is an alcoholic. I think that's where we're going, guys. Unfortunately.
Absolutely. On the plus side, I like Jen using her powers and getting better at using them. It was interesting to see her go a little dark. I'm still invested, but I want a bit more plot next episode. This week felt somewhat redundant. Thanks for a great podcast. You're welcome. I will read Chase, even though it was a response to hers, but I think he meant to set it as a separate one. He's like, I don't have much to say this week because Corey's review is spot on how I feel. This runaway bit is getting old fast. I do enjoy Jen. I do enjoy how Jen is learning about her powers and their uses, but the Romeo and Juliet plotline has run its course, and honestly, so has Khalil. Very interesting in the meta at the end, though. He's probably talking about Cutter. So that's the feedback.
Oh, no. We didn't.
What?
We didn't talk about the meta that was introduced at the very end.
Oh, yeah, the one that I racistly thought was Daniel from Insecure. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sorry.
Again,
I
so
know that we all don't know
racist.
No, you are fine because
Y'all racist. It's okay. You can say it. So that dude, he is not Daniel from Insecure. He is on The Shy. I don't know if anybody is watching The Shy, but he is on The Shy. He plays a drug dealer. Racism. He plays a drug dealer on The Shy. But he's really, really good on that.
Okay.
Yeah. And they did not name because I looked it up. I went to IMDb. They do not give his character a name yet. So whatever that is, they are holding it for some sort of surprise. And I think he's scheduled to be in the next 2 episodes or something like that. So I'm very excited for a new meta. So
you know what? He teleported. I was like, Gordon from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I think he's definitely being paid by Tobias to track down Khalil and them. Yeah. Do you think this is also because it feels like Tobias is in the process of like building his army, his crew, his whatever. But also, like, I don't think Cutter has any allegiance to Tobias.
No, none at all.
Yeah,
she don't like him.
Yeah, she don't like him. This dude seems pretty powerful in his own right, and I don't see him. I don't feel like Tobias can pull the same shit that he pulled with Khalil on these two.
Or Sinai, but he'll follow the money. Backing up, where did Cutter go? Did they take? I don't feel like they took her with them.
No, I think she just escaped. And I think she's either going to keep trying to go after them because she wants her money, or she's just going to be like, fuck this. Like, I don't need this in my life. Yeah. She just seemed like she don't have time for the games.
Yeah, not at all.
And like you said, she doesn't like Tobias. So she's like, I'm not sticking around for this bullshit. And I hope she doesn't, because like I said, like, Tobias is too damn much, and he think he could talk to anybody any old way.
He gonna catch the wrong one.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping with this guy. I'm hoping that he catches the wrong one, and that this dude is like, fuck no. Anything else?
No, I think we got it all.
Yeah, I think
Okay, so we will be back in the new year. I both cannot believe and am so ready for 2018 to be over.
They'd have it.
These years both seem so fast and so long at the same time. So I'm ready for it to be done. And we will come back when the Book of Rebellion is done, which I think is the first episode in January. And then again, we're just going to continue to cover these as entire books, because that's where the show is heading. It just makes more sense. And I don't want to say... right now, the other CW superhero shows are really firing on all cylinders. And they are really great right now.
Even The Flash?
Yes.
I have not watched The Flash this season. They pissed me off last year, so maybe
Girl.
I'm so far behind. No, it's probably not on the CW app, the original episode, so I'll probably just have to wait till it hits Netflix. But yeah, I'll watch it.
No, this season of The Flash is so good. And Jessica Parker Kennedy, if you don't watch the show every week and look at her and go, how is she not the actual child of Grant Gustin and Candace Patton?
Okay, I see. I'm trying to catch up on The Flash.
Yeah.
I've seen her in a number of commercials, and that is my exact reaction. It's like, but she's not their child?
Yeah. Like,
she's older than both of the actors.
That's what's even crazier. It's like, not only is she not their child, she's older than both of them. It's like on This Is Us when like you see like young Tess and adult Tess, and you're like, are we sure this is not like her in the future and someone got a time machine and grabbed this actress as an adult, because it's too uncanny. Like, Jessica Parker Kennedy is amazing at playing their child. And for some reason Barry looks hotter as a father. Nothing's changed. He seems like a hot dad now. I don't know what's going on. Anyway. So yeah. Y'all, I hate to say this. It's just not as good.
No.
It's just not as good.
It's not.
Arrow got a new showrunner.
I
Arrow is
watch
everything.
it because I'm rooting for it, but I don't look forward to it the way I look forward to Supergirl.
Mm-hmm. It seems like the show might need a new showrunner.
It might be getting a new showrunner, whether it wants one or not.
Right? Yeah, it might just get one. But I don't know. It just seems like you get a feel for a show, and you get a feel for when the people behind the show have kind of run out of steam, and it seems like the show, behind the show, they've run out of steam, and maybe it's a good idea to bring somebody in, somebody new in.
Yeah. So, we'll be back. It's just, it makes more sense to chunk it up. It's not necessarily of the CW superhero shows the ones I'm looking forward to each week. So, yeah, just moving in a different direction. They might want to try it. But thank you for listening. Everyone have a great vacation. Enjoy your time off. Go into the new year feeling good, because 2018 needs to sage itself. So thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.